right? So all these are the instances when you should actually get down to negotiating. Okay, so agreements and solutions. Oh, where did we go? Yeah. So important decisions, expensive items. Okay, so what about expensive items? Here it says expensive items. So this is generally when you feel that, yes, you are being overcharged. So you can say maybe with the fruit seller, with the vegetable vendor, or maybe when you love street shopping and if they are charging you, you know, for your hair accessories a little expensive, or maybe for the tops that you want to buy are kind of expensive. So then you think, yes, I should negotiate and I should say, Nahi bhaiya, I'm going to buy 2 to 3 tops from you, and then you need to come down and give me more discounts, because if you give me more discounts, I'll get all my friends here and come. So these are the different tactics of actually going ahead and doing like window shopping, kind of ask the prices from different shops and, you know, just understand and study the market. So the next time you're actually going for shopping, you are well planned, you are more confident, because you know that, you know, this guy is selling this exact same top for 300 and that guy is selling it for 500 and that guy is selling it for 200. So yes, so I know that, you know, that side is the little expensive side and this is the little, you know, okay, fine, in between, and that side I get like really nice stuff and, you know, which is not heavy on the pocket, which is like, you know, really nice and stuff. So you just do a survey and then next time you are more confident, and then, you know, even if you want to bargain, you will be confident to bargain with that 500 rupees, the one that he's selling you for 500. You can be confident and say, no, you can, you know, I want you to sell it to me for 200 because I saw that guy there, those stores, they are selling it for 200. But yeah, so if you give it to me for 200, I can buy 2 to 3 different tops from you as well. So you'll get, so understanding, planning, strategizing, knowing the market. So if you are confident, obviously you are going to be better at negotiating, correct? But yeah, how do you go ahead with business deals and stuff? What would be your strategy in understanding? Like here we said it's pretty easy to go ahead, walk down the lane, understand and survey the market. But when you have to negotiate on business deals, what do you think would be a good strategy to follow?
I think knowing your competitors well would also be a way to go about. So what's to know the market, that would be a way.
Correct, exactly right. So to understand the competitors, to understand the market, to understand the suppliers in the market, because if there is only one supplier, obviously who has a higher bargaining power, you as a customer or they as a supplier?
The supplier.
The supplier has a higher bargaining power. Why?
His monopoly in the market.
Correct. So it's monopoly in the market. If he says it is 3,000 rupees and you're like, no, I'm not ready to pay 3,000 rupees. I'm ready to pay 2,000. He'll be like, no, 2,700, take it or leave it. And you're like, oh my God, I really need it. If I don't pay 2,700, I can't buy it from anywhere else, because he has a higher say, because of course he's enjoying the monopolistic power in the market, the supplier, since he's the only one. Correct, no competitors. So of course you also need to understand the market. What is the market like, your competitors, the suppliers, what are the different quotes by different suppliers and stuff. So that bit of that bit of planning would go into, you know, understanding the market better. So it helps you also to understand how to go ahead with negotiating. Okay, so agreements with multiple variables, minimum dollar or expense limitation, pick battles wisely. Okay, so is a negotiation limited to sales? We have already discussed this, of course, not limited only to sales. In every aspect, we have, whether it is about convincing, whether it is about getting what we want, not easily, when we want something and we can't get it easily, right? So there is negotiations that happen in everyone's life, and it is not restricted only to sales. So here we have salary negotiations, which is one of the very common aspect, right? So we will do an activity. Probably we will pick up one from each of this, and then we can see how to go about it, right? Okay, so salary negotiations, hostage negotiations, wherein they of course are going to negotiate, or you can talk about war, family and friends negotiations, right? So all these are different scenarios, different instances from each one's life, wherein we can also look at it into the politics, war, and yeah, so there are different different scenarios for negotiation, and of course it is not just limited or restricted to sales. Okay, is negotiation an art? So of course you'll say yes, it is an art, it is a science. And why is negotiation an art? Be a good negotiator is like, wow, it's like a great talent to be good at negotiating, right? So sometimes when you want to go for shopping, and if you feel that, oh, you're not a good negotiator, I mean, you cannot bargain enough, then you will be really interested in asking a friend to tag along who's very good at bargaining. You're like, oh, wow, I'm going to get a lot of stuff because, yes, this person here is really good in bargaining and getting, a good deal for the stuff. So yeah, so negotiation would also be a talent. It is an art. Having good skills is essential to go ahead and actually win and save, and get a lot of profits, earn out of it. And yeah, so all this is really required to go ahead and have like extremely a happy life if you are good at negotiating. Okay, so negotiating is people sensitive. If you talk to a man in a language that he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his mind. So we broke this down last time. We went ahead and understood what exactly this means. It means to say, when you're talking to a person, don't just talk to him. Being very formal or being inconsiderate, right? So when you talk to him being considerate, that's when it actually hits his heart. And the main thing about your negotiation is, yes, you need to stick to your plan, you need to stick to the outcome, and ultimately, yes, you also need to be considerate, making sure that you are not adamant by saying that, yes, no matter what, I don't mind losing the relationship, but I want what I want. Then that's going to be a very aggressive approach, and that does not go with negotiation. It is not an acceptable way of negotiating, right? So you need to be considerate to the other party as well. Okay, so basic principle to follow while negotiating. Expect the unexpected. Okay, now when you are going ahead and negotiating, or when you want to go ahead and take on any negotiation, right? So what is the main objective? What is the main thing that you need to have in your mind before actually sitting down to go ahead and negotiate? Is there anything, or you just go with a free, open mind? Okay, let me give you a scenario. Let's just say we are talking about a salary negotiation. Now, in your mind, you're like, yes, I want to go ahead and make a call to the HR. I want to call for a meeting because I want a 20% hike in salary. Okay, so this is the scenario. So now when you're actually going down to a meeting with your HR, is there anything at the back of your mind that you have before starting the negotiation, or you just go open-minded without planning or without actually having anything in mind? You just go open-minded and then you see how the negotiation goes?
You actually consider all the possible things that the HR could say probably. Like you rethink what are the possible questions that I might be exposed to answer,
Okay,
and
perfect, cool.
prepare yourself.
Okay, so the first thing is, yes, the 25% hike in salary. Now, what would be the possible questions that your HR may ask you? So this is a very, crucial point to actually do this bit of planning. Now, the questions may be, on what basis are you asking for a 25% hike, right? So how good how good is your productivity? Or how many errors have you made? Or if you are a trainer, say for example, how are the reviews, right? So how are you using the time effectively? So all these may be the possible questions, and of course if you have answers to all these questions, your negotiation is really on your side so far, correct? Okay, then what else? So the first thing is, yes, you may put up all the questions. You may actually go ahead and pre-plan. You may actually think of all the different questions that the other party may put to you. Okay, cool. Then
Also, we said that what is the minimum limit of our, like at what is the minimum range that we would settle in? Like, for example, we would ask for 25%, but like, okay, we can just settle down to 12% or 10% maybe. So we also go with that thing in the back of our mind.
correct, exactly. And now when you are asking for a 25% hike, now you obviously know that if I'm going to ask for a 25% hike, for sure they are not going to agree. They are going to go ahead with a negotiation, right? So I actually am looking for a 15% hike, but let me put it up as 25%. So even though we are going to negotiate, they may come down to 17, between 15 to 17%, which is okay. But if it is lower than 15%, no, I would not be interested. I might as well look out for different alternatives. And I have so many years of experience. Okay, fine. I think I can look out for better opportunities, because if they are not going to value the amount of work I'm putting into, options that you have, or what would be the other points that you think, yes, I can actually go ahead and work as a strategy into getting the most out of your expectations. About the alternatives, right? So say for example, you are having different call letters, or you're having different alternatives wherein the other companies are offering you a 10% hike, but yes, you want to stick to this company, and then you are asking for a 15% hike. So you are already having alternatives, but you will now consider if you want to actually go ahead and spill away this information, or would it not really be good enough or ethical to say that, yes, I have offers from XYZ with actually so and so hike, right? So you are having alternatives. Should you spill the alternatives, or no, should you work on different way, making sure you're getting most out of the alternatives? So stick to the plan, stick to what beyond which you will not go ahead and agree. So that should be, you are agreeing to negotiate, you're willing to negotiate, but only until a certain point. So what is that point up to which you are agreeing to negotiate, and what would be the different possible questions that may arise, and you should be prepared well enough to go ahead and prove your credibility and answer. Correct. So for every negotiation, you have to anticipate what could Rachel and Bliss, Mohini and Kimberly. So I want you to give me a brief of your scenario, and then what went into your planning. No, if you tell me what went into your planning, of course, you all are going to give away the secrets to the opponents, right? Okay, so don't go ahead with the planning. Just give me a brief of your scenario, and then you all can go ahead and start off. Yeah.
So basically, we want an assistant manager because we're overworked.
Okay.
And we feel like we deserve to get an assistant manager because we're also one of the most hardworking employees in the team.
Okay, now you need to negotiate with whom?
So we have to negotiate with the CFO as well as the CEOs.
Okay, so yeah, This is the scenario. Okay, so now CFOs, can you all go ahead and tell me from your point of view, like what is your scenario? You all have to negotiate with whom? What is your pressure and all of that?
So, ma'am, we are basically going to convince them to stay without a third member, and present them with 3 alternatives.
But you'll need to keep them happy. That's the main
Yeah,
objective.
and make sure that the concern of them being overworked is addressed, keeping in mind that the company's cost is taken care of. So, yeah.
Okay, good. So that is your CFO. Okay, now can we have Vaishnavi and Bhakti, the CEOs?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So what is your scenario?
Ma'am, I think it's the same as CFO has already explained, that they
No,
are very
it's a little
hardworking.
different.
Uh,
It is, see, the CFOs are under pressure to go ahead and do cost cutting, right? So the CEOs, you all are under the pressure from other managers. If you all actually accept their proposal in having like an assistant manager for themselves, then it should not look unfair, because the other managers, lazy managers, you can say, the other managers who are not contributing much, of course, they are not going to be overworked. And this may kind of, get them to be annoyed or make it look like you are partial. So you need to deal with the other managers, but your main motive is to keep Mohini and Kimberly happy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so can we have Mohini and Kimberly start off, because you all are the ones who need to convince your CFOs and your CEOs.
Okay, so one of our main points was the fact that we understand that there would be a concern, whereas the other people would feel like they are not being treated the same and maybe they're favored, which is why we're getting an assistant manager. But I feel like if you show it to them as an incentive that they are getting a manager because they've been working super hard, they could probably work the same amount, and probably in a short period of time we would not be overworked and we wouldn't need, say, an assistant manager because of the overwork that we're facing, if they try to cover up the same amount of work that we've been faced with.
Okay.
Another thing we discussed was that since we want to get the assistant because our productivity is high, and because our productivity is high, it helps to increase the firm's profits. So if we are so overworked, in the long run, it'll lead to burnout and therefore decrease productivity, and it'll cost the firm a lot more losses. And getting an assistant manager would be a small price to pay and thus prevent further losses.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for now this is our argument. And
yeah. So this is what they are putting forward to the CFOs and the CEOs. They started off strong, so yeah.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, so CEO.
Yeah. So Kimberly and Mohini, we totally understand that you are extremely productive and as a like a asset to our company. So we do get that and we recognize that. But the thing is that uh, what I as a CEO would have in mind is, because I'm paying the same to my other managers also, and I am totally with you that you are working hard. I am just concerned why the other managers aren't working that very hard. So I think maybe what I could do is have a meeting with the other managers and ask them to share the workload with you, because here I see that there is some lack of team spirit going on with them being them not contributing the same, though you all are getting the same salaries. So it just seems unfair on your part, and I totally recognize that. So I think a meeting with the other managers to see to it that why aren't their contribution being the same, I think that would be a great thing to do.
Do we get to counter immediately, or like
What about the CFO, and Bliss?
Ma'am, so we have thought about three alternatives or solutions. So first, we thought of like introducing a holiday as long as the company's targets are met. Second being that we could leverage the salary to some extent, and third being we could, since they are overworked, we could provide them a holiday package covering like 20 to 25% of the travel expense, provided that one takes the trip and the other needs to work, so that the company's balance is maintained. So yeah.
So you are going to sponsor only 25% of the holiday?
Yes.
Okay.
We could negotiate the percent, but for now, I think 25% is what our company is capable of.
All right. And then what else do you say? In hike in salary, right? Salary hike?
Yeah, to some
And then-
extent.
Okay. And then the third option?
We could introduce a weekend holiday as long as the company's targets are met.
Okay.
So like maybe second or fourth Saturday or something like that. So that their workload is at ease or something like that.
All right. Okay, fine. So what do you have to say, Mohini and Kimberly?
Ma'am,
With the
first of
offers
all,
they
I
are
feel
putting ahead.
I feel like our problem is not being directly addressed. I feel like they are looking at external factors and not directly addressing our problem. Let's start from the very latest point, the fact that we would be given a vacation where only one person takes a trip and the other needs to work. Considering the fact that we're already overworked, you're then putting a burden on one person completely of a job which is supposed to be performed by two people. Then the fact that the CEO said that they do understand that
Yeah, you can talk to the CEO directly.
So you do understand that we're being treated unfairly, but you're saying that you would like to have a meeting with the members. Now, what do you think you would achieve in the meeting that you haven't already achieved in past communication?
The thing is, Moini, I need to see both sides of the coin somewhere. I need to see why is their contribution not the same and why is the distribution of work done so unfairly. So maybe that could be my first approach to go about with it. And I feel if managing is itself an art. So if you could collaborate, if we have that team spirit within us, maybe without increasing the cost of our company, because of course the company belongs to us all, right? So without increasing the cost, we could all come together, and if we all put in equal efforts, if you are also able to bring them to the table, I think it would be better and would be profitable for the whole company.
But I feel like we've been suffering for way too long. We have been dealing with the issue for way too long, and it feels like our silence is being used against us. So now we're finally standing up for ourselves.
Well, in that case, we also had another alternative. Bhakti, would you like to go with that, or should I?
Yeah, I will. Just a minute.
I'll just keep this here if you think the slide would.
Just a minute. There's some.
You can just incorporate few points from here and take your negotiation forward. Maybe, if you want to.
I would like to reiterate another point that I made previously. The fact that instead of, say, getting a full-time assistant, till the time that the others have not gotten up to the level of productivity that they're supposed to get to, you could probably hire interns, which would not require as much of a cost as a normal assistant manager would cost. I think that would be lovely.
I'm extremely thankful for you, like for bringing up that point, because that is exactly what we had in mind. Because okay, so an intern would be a really good decision, because first of all, see, there's a lot of workforce available in the market, so that's not an issue. And then when you give the interns perks, it's obvious that you'll find someone, and it's not like we will find someone who is not experienced, right? We'll obviously find someone who will be able to do the work that you do, and who will be able to assist you better. So that is something that we were considering too. And plus, not just so, the decision of hiring an intern would not be completely upon us, because we know that you're overworked and you've been working like this for so long. We would like to take in your points into consideration, as in how you want your intern to be. I mean, his skills and all would be determined by you. So like you'll have a decision, you'll have a right in the decision making of who you will choose as an intern. So that way there would be no problem in cost cutting and your workload would be reduced.
One point to make, I hope the intern is still paid though, because unpaid interns don't have the same amount of dedication.
So Mohini, what we could do here is, at this point, the company can only manage one intern. So that will have to be shared between you both, is one aspect. Secondly, of course, they'll be paid interns. I completely agree with you. Unpaid interns can be a mess. So it would be a paid intern, but CFOs, I would also like to bring to your notice that a paid intern pays, the cost involved is quite less than hiring an assistant manager. So that could.
But one second, one point. Will the intern be able to fit into an assistant manager's role?
Exactly what I as a CFO would like to present. Because like I feel like being an assistant marketing manager is something that requires a lot of experience. So that will come in the way of our company's productivity. And also, like Mohini mentioned a point that, it'll be a overburden handling the other person's work when one goes on vacation, but also handling an assistant manager is also a work. So like that too.
See, if
The
they
amount of work that would take to handle.
Okay, so last 2 minutes, you'll come up with a decision.
The amount of work that would take to do the work on your own is, there is a tremendous difference in that. Yeah. Also, by the point where we get a say in the decision making of getting the intern, I think what we could do is present to you exactly what we need, and you could guess the person. But going out there and hiring the person ourselves and getting involved would just increase our work. So yeah.
No, I did not mean it in that way. I mean, we'll take care of the technicalities. I just meant that you tell us what kind of a person you need for the job, so that it will be better for you and the company.
And I understand that the assistant manager is not going to be as productive as the intern is not going to be as productive as the assistant manager. Totally recognized. But somewhere the root of the problem is that you are overworked right now. So maybe that reduces some amount of burden. Alongside, we are also having the meeting with the other managers. So we are going to make them accountable to the work, and we are going to see to it that they contribute the same. So both of these leveling together, I think the need of the intern even in some months would go, and it would become a balanced workspace. The managers and we both agree that with the intern.
Yeah, seems like a fair deal.
Yeah.
Do the CFOs have anything else to say?
No, I think if the marketing managers are convinced enough, I think it's a great decision for the company. So I don't have any point to.
So that's a deal.
Yes.
Right. So
great.
Awesome. So yeah. So you all had a very strong point. Let me tell you, this incentive based. Who was the one who came up with it? Was Mohini and Kimberly all said incentive based, right? And if you all wanted to stick to this, I think this would have been a very nice point to stick to it, saying that yes, we earned it. It's not that, you know, you are going to be gifting us and you're going to look partial. No, it is because we have been hardworking. It is because we have put that much amount of, you know, hours and hard work into analyzing, processing, working. So we have earned it as an incentive, and which is why now we feel that yes, ours is of course a lot more. You also said a high productivity, right? So all these points you all should have actually stuck on this, because these were very strong points if you all could have convinced your CFOs and CEOs. Because here when you all spoke about higher productivity and firm earning more profit and all that, this is addressing the CFO's main concern, which is about reducing costs, right? And if he says that yes, we can increase the product firm's business or the firm's profits, because we are going to be increasing the productivity. So this would have actually focused on you know, addressing the CFO's problem, and the incentive based would also would have actually covered the points of the CEO, wherein the CEO's main concern was he should not look partial when comparing, you know, the other marketing managers. So these 2 points were actually very strong. You all could have actually convinced the CFO and the CEO. But yes, overall good. You all also were compromising. They also kind of compromised, and overall you all came up with a decision without any argument and without any that, you know, selfish kind of nice negotiation the way you all went off with. So you all have decided to go ahead with an intern, and the CEOs said that they would hold a meeting with the other managers, making sure that the managers are going to be accountable, so that when all the other managers become responsible, the workload on Mohini and Kimberly would not be as much. Plus an intern would actually go ahead and share certain responsibilities or the workload. So yeah, okay, pretty fair enough. But yeah, those 2 points were strong. If y'all could have actually worked on convincing them, then it would have actually points which have exactly nailed the points or the issues and the concerns of the CFO and the CEO. Yes, agreed? Yes. Yes or no?